yes. How's everybody, guys? Welcome to RossonARI TV. Today we're going to do a nice, great show today. Preview of tomorrow's game, Milan Manchester United at the San Siro. Today we have a great guest had us yesterday on it. So G, are you in London?
I'm
In
actually in
England?
Newcastle right now. I'm in Newcastle right now. So by
You're in
sound,
Newcastle.
I'm in London. So yeah, that's what happened.
All right, we got G from Newcastle from Red Devil Studio, guys. Check out his channel. Thank you for being here with us, G. G is
No
going to
problem.
talk to us about Manchester United and the game. We got Laert from London. What's up, Laert? How you doing?
I'm really good, really excited for tomorrow. And hi, everyone. Let's talk about some football and see what's
All
going
right.
on.
And then we got Ari. Ari, how are you? Ari, are you in Austin right now?
Ciao ragazzi, I am not. I am in Chicago right now,
Nice.
traveling a little bit. So yeah, in the windy city at the moment.
Awesome. And then you got me, Roy, from Los Angeles. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Big game tomorrow. We got the second round of Milan Manchester United Europa League. So let me get straight away into the questions. And this is a question I asked you, G, yesterday. And I'm going to ask this question to you again for our audience today. And I'm also going to ask Laert and Ari the AC Milan perspective. So, G, what are Manchester United's motivations to win this game tomorrow?
It's interesting because I answered the question in a way, and I was watching the Solskjaer press conference, and certain comments came out that may have rattled some United fans. In that Solskjaer effectively said that trophies, to paraphrase, are not necessarily a sign of progress or achievement or what have you. And so obviously, cue a lot of people being your trash manager, it's not big enough ambition, etc. Clearly Solskjaer wouldn't hate winning a trophy, wouldn't hate winning the Europa League. I think the whole point of it was that you could be like an Arsenal where, okay, yes, you won the FA Cup last season, you've got a trophy, but you're now in 10th place. So have you really progressed as a club? If yes, you won a trophy, but your league form, your ability hasn't gone. So why I'm saying that is that I think fundamentally winning the Europa League would almost be the definitive evidence of progress under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think Manchester United are fine from a top four point of view. I think unlike AC Milan, I think we're fairly confident now that we can secure top four for Europe for Champions League. But just having something to show that, you know what, I'm the right guy. This is what I can do with this team. And more to the point to the board, this is why you should give me more money for summer transfers. I think that's probably the motivation, certainly from Solskjaer's point of view. And obviously, players want to make progress regardless.
Very interesting. All right. Laert, what about you from the AC Milan perspective? What are AC Milan's motivations? What do you think are AC Milan's motivations?
I think looking at from a perspective as a supporter, I think this is a great opportunity to kind of challenge yourself and see how good the team is and how the improvement is being done in an international field, trying to understand because we know how good we are in Serie A. We know our strength and our weakness, but we don't know how good we are in an international field and see what is the difference between AC Milan and a big club like Manchester United or any Premier League club anyway, or La Liga club or Bundesliga. So it's a good opportunity, and it's important to see some young players how they are growing in terms of personality and how they stay in the pitch and how they deal with pressure, because it is a real pressure to play against Manchester United, against players like Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and probably Pogba is getting in the second half or from the beginning. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see. I'm really interested. I think you don't need motivation to play against Man United. So
it's automatic.
That's good.
Ari, do you think AC Milan is going to go in this game to win it?
If I was the manager, if I was at the dugout if I was on the sidelines, I would, I personally would not maybe field my best 11, and just solely because I am very concentrated on the. Now here's the thing, I would have really been gunning for the Europa League if our 2021 Jan and Feb wouldn't have been absolute shite. Since they've been absolute shite, I now am getting a little worried about our progress towards guaranteeing the top four. And because of that, I'm a little hesitant to putting all these legs and energy forward for the Europa League. But from coming from Pioli's perspective, and the mental impact that can be that facing United is going to have on our young ragazzi, on the young boys, is unparalleled to anything else that the Serie A or the Coppa Italia can provide. So I completely agree on that. And these Manchester United games can really one, tell the fans that this team is ready for the Europa Champions League, and more importantly, tell the players themselves that, hey, we are ready for the Champions League. If we can face Manchester United, a team that just 10 days ago beat arguably the best side in Europe right now, then we are ready for the Champions League.
Yes, I like that. Gee, I have a question for you, which is actually a pretty good segue into what you were talking about earlier about specifically Ole. Okay, here it is. You tell me.
Okay, so on a purely logical answer, right? Yeah. Which coach do you know sacks a manager that's second place?
Leicester City. They sack him after they win the Premier League and don't do well the next season.
But I mean, in terms of league position, that they're currently right now in second place. Like, obviously, I know their managers have been sacked. You know, even Jose Mourinho was sacked, I think, after winning a Premier League, and I think Di Matteo after Champions League. But in terms of current league position, I don't know of any manager in European football that gets sacked and they're second place in their domestic league. So I have to at least give Solskjaer that, in that I get people's frustration in that we're not necessarily playing well, not necessarily for a trophy, not got the Champions League. But you've got to be reasonable. Like, even from an owner perspective, a board perspective, you're not going to sack a manager that's currently second place in domestic league. No one does that. So for me personally, because I know, Roy, you wanted to ask me. Yes. Oh man, I am going to say that right now I am Ollie in, and I'm Ollie in because he's not done enough for me yet to say that he should be out. Predominantly, and I know I'm going to get banned with this, is from where we are in the league. So our league position is consistent. The fact that the team that he has now, he built. So people tend to forget that, like, he inherited a lot of deadwood, a lot of players that really didn't need to be the club, mercenaries. Case in point, Alexis Sanchez, who thankfully your rivals. In fact, I should be cussing you guys. Inter Milan basically took 3 of our players that we didn't need and put them in the squad. So maybe you should hate us because we've given them 3 players.
And they're doing well, man. One of them is having the best time of his career right now. If Inter Milan was in a European competition, it's safe to say that Lukaku would have been fighting for the Ballon d'Or right now. If Inter was in a European competition right now, he's that good right now.
So in theory, Conte owes the winning the Serie A to Manchester United. In a way.
Well, yeah, you're right.
You saw that we get but go on here.
Yeah, well, you were saying, are there any clubs that fire coaches in good positions? In Italy, we know all about it. Even last year, Juventus, Sarri, after winning the league, was fired because he lost. Just because he lost of Champions League. But now I know the Manchester United fans are very divided on this, because here, look at what Haris Rafiq says. I'm sorry, but all his style of football is awful. Even though he's second at clubs like United and Milan, you expect to play a certain style of football. Do you have anything
this-
to say
Yeah,
about
so
it?
this
Does
is why I disagree,
anybody have
because,
anything to say about that?
Oh, do you want to answer it, or do you want to?
No, go for it.
No, go
You're
ahead. Go for it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just going to bring like two things. I think one, personally, in my opinion, I don't think Ollie's style of play is any worse than, to be honest, the three managers that we had in Jose Mourinho, in Van Gaal, and even David Moyes. And Jose Mourinho and Louis were Champions League winners, domestic league winners. Obviously, Mourinho won his treble, but people still gave them time and backed them. But the reason why they were sacked because of their performance in the league. That was why they were sacked. That's the consistency. Moyes, sixth. Van Gaal, I think last season, sixth. Jose Mourinho completely spiraled. So the managers were not sacked because of their style of football. They were sacked because of their domestic position. And then lastly, I want Manchester United to play great in attacking football. But one, you need the players for that. But also, to a lesser certain extent, style of football is somewhat overrated if it doesn't lead to results, because football is a results-based business. Liverpool have a style of football, great. Okay, where are they now? You know what I mean? Like Arsenal, Chelsea, all these teams have styles of football, great. That doesn't necessarily lead to results, and so if that, Tuchel had a style of football, PSG is not there anymore. So you've got to bear in mind, it's like having a style is fine, but you still have to deliver the results, and when you're not delivering them, doesn't matter. That's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah. Well, hey, Laird. So that was a good point that G was talking about. The style of football is not necessarily indicative of your success. Let's look at Inter for now. Inter arguably playing the worst football in Italy, but they're first. What do you think about? And also you, Ari, Laird, you answer first. What do you think about coach's style of football, and if style has an effect on results?
I've been a supporter of AC Milan for more than 25 years, I think. I would say 27 years. And I always wanted a manager that makes sure AC Milan plays well, plays great football. Because if you play great football, you're going to win. And you're going to attract great players. You're going to attract, a great team always goes further in any competition, especially in European competition, than a team that actually plays okay and maybe has a great player that actually solves the situation against small teams in Italy or in your league. So, and we know Manchester United and AC Milan are well known for great football. So I think not playing well is always going to be a problem for them, and it's always going to be a problem for the supporters. And everyone is going to complain and say, and always put you there in judging you why you're not playing well, and brings problems on the club. And at the end, football is a show. People, 80,000 people, not this season, but next season, 80,000 people are coming to the stadium, and they want to see a show. They don't want to see 11 players paid millions of pounds staying defensively and waiting for the opponent to lose their ball or make a mistake to win a game. That's not about Manchester United and AC Milan. So Pioli for us is a great option. I think it did a great job, and AC Milan plays fairly well. But in 1 year, if AC Milan is still playing like this, or is not evolving and always changing, always being a surprise for the opponent, I agree on Davide Romano saying, yeah, why not Pioli out as well? Of course, you have to do it. You have to do it with a plan. You have to do it with looking at the future and seeing, okay, what's next? Not like, oh, I'm sick and tired about Ole, and now I'm going to change it with another one. If you don't have a plan, it's better to keep Ole for sure.
Yeah.
But you need to find that plan as soon as possible before the next season starts. That's my opinion.
Yeah, David, G, you had something to say there?
No, yeah. So I think 2 points. One is that, like, and I'm trying to come from this logically, because obviously these decisions are often taken by people above me, and the unfortunate reality is that football, very right now, we are football fans, but the reality is football is now a business. It is a business. It's strictly football. It's strictly about money. There's a lot of money going into the game. That is where football is right now. And so it's understandable that a lot of teams, like, I'll take the Premier League, for example, teams like Bournemouth, teams like Blackpool, there's so many Premier League teams that when they came up, when they're on, played fantastic football, entertaining football, But you know what? They got relegated. They lost millions of pounds. Jobs were lost. All this stuff happened because they couldn't survive in the Premier League. That's the reality of modern football now. And when it comes to Champions League, the same thing. The amount of money that is there for Champions League, for attracting players, etc. So because of that, if you're an owner, if you're a club and you want to attract these players, you think, well, if we park 11 men behind the ball, if it means that we get a point or get a win ad hoc, like, I wouldn't say we did that against City, but to a lesser certain extent, and you get that, in the long term, that will be better than playing the best football that you can. Although ideally you want to play that football, but you don't necessarily get the results, and you sort of tailor off. So it's not that I disagree with that per se. It's just I don't think that's the reality that we live in right now with football.
Yeah, in Italy, it's all about the result. Ari, Haris Rafiq says, just like Pep Guardiola says, if you keep the ball well and move the ball well, the opponent can't hurt you when you dominate the ball. Now, Pioli has been playing, I think, some excellent football. Do you think, Ari, that Pioli deserves to stay in for the next season? And what do you think of his style of football?
Yes, sir. I think much like United has been stuck in and hasn't let go of Sir Alex Ferguson's shadows. No one was able to do it, whether it be Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, David Moyes, whoever, right? Milan also has been switching managers like, a playboy and his girlfriends. It's just been like every season in and out, and they've been disrespecting managers as well, because Milan, unlike United, have been hiring, well, excluding Ole, Milan has been hiring a lot of legends of the club and then firing them for one reason or another, which I didn't like that they did in the past 7 or so seasons. So I think Pioli has played the best football since I would say since Allegri. Maybe Seedorf would have done the same if he had the same squad available to him, because I really liked Seedorf too. He just had an absolute shit squad.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, man, I believe, and especially if we make the Champions League, there's no question Pioli stays. If he bottles the Champions League lights, right, there's a big question mark on his head, where you're winter champions and you bottle the Champions League. That no matter what happens, no matter how many injuries happen, some blame does go to the manager for that.
Got you. Guys, I want to give a special shout out to Aaron Morali. Aaron Morali is also part of the RossonARI TV squad. He says, Forza Milan. Today he couldn't be with us, but he says hello. Okay, so, and everybody that is listening, please put in your questions or comments if you have, and we're going to address them. Okay, so I want to talk about the game now, and we'll go one by one. Okay, so what is going to be the difference tomorrow from the first leg? G, you go first.
I think the difference is going to obviously the personnel. That's the big thing. I think I'm reading that Cavani, I think, is out. I think it's also a touch and go, not 100%. I think if he is able to play, he will play, but I won't be surprised if Lindelof comes in. So there's that. Okay. So I think if Bay doesn't play, you're going to see a more of a withdrawn, I wouldn't say defensive, but sort of not as high pressed approach as you would if Bay was playing. So that's, I think, it's still a touch and go. I do think that Manchester United, obviously with Rashford and Luke Shaw coming into the team, will be a bit more creative, will probably go a bit more expansive and expressive going forward. But I think the big thing will obviously be, I think it's Pogba and where Pogba is going to play. And although I know he's probably not match fit as of yet, like I said on the previous team, with Pogba, even if he gives a glimpse, like 10% of the talent that he could give, that extra finding a pass, trying to pick out that good pass, or just some brilliant piece of skill out of nowhere, I think you might see a lot. Essentially, what I'm saying is you're going to see a bit more creativity from Manchester United and better passing than you would have in the previous game.
Gotcha. Ari, what about from the Milan perspective? What do you see the difference is going to be?
First of all, against all assumptions, against all presumptions, Milan performed better than Manchester United, which I was proud of in the first leg. I do not think this is gonna be the case for the second leg, specifically because not because of Cavani's return per se, but specifically because of Pogba's return and where he positions in on the field. Now, I think the key battle in this whole game is going to be Pogba versus Kessie, or Bruno versus Kessie. Our double pivot versus Pogba and Bruno, basically. That's going to define what happens in this game, because and some would say, hey, why are you not talking about the flanks? United is so pacey and dangerous on the flanks. I'm not giving that the key battle, because of course there are key battles, but I'm not concentrating on that much, because I believe in our fullbacks too. If our fullbacks were very mediocre, then I'd say that's the defining factor. How well United's flanks are able to get in behind Milan's defense. But our fullbacks, after a long time, are very strong, both sides. Now I know Calabria is in question, but I'm just talking, Calabria or Kalulu and Theo Hernandez on the other side. Our fullbacks are pretty strengthened. I think the key battle here is how Milan deal with Bruno Fernandes and Pogba. That's where United will be looking to unlock the passages of play. And if we're able to, put a wall up there, the tie can end in Milan's favor.
Laert, let me ask you, always staying in Milan and even with Manchester United, do you think Kessie being much more, let's say, match fit than Pogba, do you think that is an advantage for AC Milan? And where do you see Çalhanoğlu's fitness, and how is the battle against Bruno Fernandes and Çalhanoğlu? What do you expect?
So, to be fair, I'm worried about the physical condition of AC Milan, because we looked really tired against Napoli. And I don't know if 4 days or 3 days is enough to recover and get, to be ready to play against a pretty fresh and not tired Manchester United, because some of these players, they didn't play, or they're coming from an injury, so they've been training and they're not tired. So I'm quite worried Kessie is going to struggle, because he's been playing for all season, always sacrificing and always running. And I don't think he's going to make it more than 70 minutes. And this is a game that can go 120 minutes. I'm worried about the fact that we are going to play high press, and that consumes a lot of energy. And we are really bad on finishing. We are not clinical to finish the attacking action. So I'm worried about that, because I think if you don't finish, if you don't score early or in the first half, slowly, Man United is gonna come up, starts with their fresh legs and fresh players, and score easily 1 or 2 goals if we don't start to control the game and maybe score the first goal.
Yeah, I think that first goal is going to be a big difference.
And I'm worried about the psychological part as well, the mental side of it. We are kind of a 1-1, so we are in a better position in terms of score. So maybe they can start to think, oh, let's defend, let's try to keep the result. And that's dangerous, because if you leave Manchester United or any team, let them do their game, you're going to suffer a lot, and it's worse.
I'm going to challenge you. Sorry, G. Let me just say this, and then I want you also to be answer, and then please share your thought. I'm going to challenge you, Laert. Manchester United fans, maybe G might agree, but even from Adam, they said that if you close down, if you play the usual Italian catenaccio against Manchester United suffers, and Manchester United finds a lot of difficulty. G, is this true?
Well, you gotta explain catenaccio to him.
I'm not. I think
I'm sure you know. Catenaccio is basically parking the bus.
Yeah, I think exactly, because I'm thinking about it, because because I remember when we played Juventus in the Champions League. This was under Jose Mourinho. This was the last time I remember playing a big Italian team, and that was, I think, under Jose Mourinho, and he effectively did that, but we still ended up winning the game. I don't necessarily think. I actually think that how you played against us in the first leg will cause us more problems, and because that's how smaller teams in the Premier League have gotten out. If you watch, I was telling my friend this once, and I was like, AC Milan actually played just like Crystal Palace did against us in the first game of the season, where they pressed us high up the field, tried to get us to make mistakes, and didn't allow us to come out. And then when we did have the ball, they'd win the ball back, and they would be able to hit us on the break with a lot of pace down the wings in particular. I think that if AC Milan park the bus and give the incentive back, I think while we might struggle, and I think if we didn't have Pogba and some other creative players, then I would say, yeah, maybe with a very weak Manchester United side, you might be able to pass off a 0-0. But when you've got Shaw, when you've got Rashford, when you've got Pogba, there's going to be at least one goal. At least one. And what Manchester United have shown this season is that they will always score a goal. A goal is always going to come. The question is how many goals are going to come.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you guys know Ari and Laird. When you play Catenaccio, basically you're defending the whole time, but when you do attack, you're attacking in open space because the attacks are coming from counterattacks.
Yeah.
Are you against this idea of Milan protecting the lead, or do you think Milan should go in full gung-ho like they did the first leg? Ari,
I think it should be the first leg. We shouldn't. I don't think we are that. The squad is mature enough to park the bus against Manchester United and deal with it, especially since our Capitano and Kier too probably is out. Those, when you're parking the bus, you're relying on the two center backs to keep the unit together, to keep the shape together, to shout out commands, to keep that whole bus together. If both those center backs are out, we have Tomori and maybe even a substitute come in, Gabbia, then you're talking a bus that's driven by a driver who never drives this bus. If this was a solid center back pairing, I would say yeah, maybe, because I know Milan has good counter-attacking abilities and they can exploit that space. So no, that shouldn't be our style of play. Our style of play should mimic that of the first leg.
Right.
And there is another thing.
Okay.
What's the point of staying in the Europa League and you parking the bus? If you want to stay in Europa League, just play football at least.
Exactly.
Because there is no reason. Just lose it and keep going with the Serie A at least. So.
Okay, and let me ask you guys a quick question, all of you. Who do you think is going to benefit more from going forward into the next round? One at a time. G, what are your senses? Your objective senses.
What do you mean, just to clarify, what do you mean by who's going to benefit more? Do you mean in terms of
team
achievements or where both teams are in the leagues? Or
where both teams are not only in the leagues, but just in their general growth?
And last, just to clarify, are AC Milan still in any domestic cups?
Nope.
No. Okay, fine. Okay, then I would probably say AC Milan then in that respect, because even if Manchester United get knocked out to the Europa League, we're pretty much secured for the top four. Not definitively, but it's unlikely that we'll drop out. And we still have the FA Cup that we're in. I expect us to do a good performance against Leicester to go through. So still is that. So I think that if Ollie at the end of the season says, okay, hey, look, I finished top four and got an FA Cup, people will say it's been a good season. Even if he gets second, they'll say, okay, it's been okay. It's not been terrible. I think with Milan, I think they will benefit a lot from obviously winning the Europa League. The only thing I have in my mind is that if they go deep into the competition, as Ari has said, does this mean that they'll pick up injuries? Does this mean that they might drop out of the top four? So I think from winning the competition, AC Milan will benefit more. But I don't know whether you've got the squad depth to be able to.
No, sir, we don't. We are too thin. We are too thin to make it to the final of the Europa League. Look, I'll be the first one on the bandwagon singing and crying if we win the Europa League. I believe that's the only international or national, so the only available trophy to AC Milan that's not in our trophy cabinets. It's the only one. So of course I'll be singing and dancing if we win the Europa League, because primarily, but here's the thing, here's the main key point. I'll be singing and dancing not because we won the Europa League. I'll be singing and dancing because we make it to the Champions League. So that portrays what my primary goal is, which is the Champions League. And which of the two competitions provides an easier, safer passage to the Champions League? It's the Serie A. So which of the two championships do you want to protect? Do you want to protect the ugly sister of the Champions League, or do you want to protect the Campeonato, a coveted trophy itself, and the top four go to the Champions League like that? I think I want to go that way, which is why I don't think Milan benefits a lot. As far as mentality is concerned and the confidence of the players is concerned, this one tie and performing well against Manchester United is enough for the players' confidence to tell them, hey, we're good enough for the Champions League. So we don't need more European ties to prove the point further.
Wow. Okay. Laert, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Ari. I think our squad is not good enough to compete in two competitions, especially when now the Europa League is getting tougher, and teams, especially the teams that are in Europa League, let's say Tottenham and Arsenal, they have to win it because they didn't win anything this season, and they are even out of the top four, so they are going for this competition. Exactly. So they're gonna be like fresh and play against you Thursday.
And also, according to Laert, people from Milan don't give a fuck about the Europa League.
Well, not all people from Milan. Not all people.
Well, I'm saying supporters that live in Italy, they really don't care about the Europa League. I mean, it's like Europa League is like it's like you didn't make it for the Champions League and you are there playing
it's like
Thursday.
A participation trophy.
Yeah, it's like
no offense to United though. They won it under Ibra, and I loved it because Zlatan is one of my favorite players in the universe. So I was rooting for United to win that cup. But you know, I'm sure United fans are in the same boat. If they were given the Champions League or the Europa League, they would pick the Champions League every day of the week.
Yeah,
Ari, that's a great thing. Sorry, finish, Larry. Finish.
No, it's just saying that it's like you wanna. It's basically if you win the Europa League, your who is owning the club is gonna say, "Oh, this is a good club. We don't need to invest. It's good enough." And I'm like, "No, this squad is not good enough. You need to invest money. Don't be fooled thinking, oh, we are doing well in Europa League, so the team is good enough for the next season. No, still Manchester United and AC Milan, they can go even in the final of Europa League. Still is a team that needs investment, needs big players. And and in Italy at least, you have to lose to make sure that the owner of the club say, okay, we're losing, so we need to buy players. If you keep winning, the owner of the club is going to say, oh, let's sign another year, Ibrahimovic. 4 years old, he can do it for another 10 years.
Exactly.
That's not the reality of AC Milan. AC Milan is overachieving.
The Europa League is the poor man's Champions League.
Okay, I have a question for G. Because and it's a great segue, this one. So you celebrated the Europa League. And I'm sure you've also celebrated Manchester United with Champions League, right? Both of them. 99, I believe. And 2000 and?
2008, wasn't it? I think.
It was after Milan.
Yeah.
Right after Milan. So you can tell us what is the difference in just the feeling of winning the Europa League and the Champions? Because we as Milan fans have never won it.
I mean, you know, winning the champion, it's the greatest. It's the biggest competition in world football. Especially now, more so now, because even in 2000 and 2009, I think people would probably still said the World Cup was probably bigger You know, so, and I think that now you could make an argument that Champions League is bigger, not to disrespect the World Cup, but just because of the quality of the teams, just the quality of the football, the drama, everything around it. Like, it's just a bigger competition, and the manner in which we won as well. Because I think in 2008 we beat Chelsea. So it's, and on top of that, the bragging rights as well, which is the thing. Like, you are the best team in Europe. You can get to win other trophies as well. I think you have access to the Club World Cup and then the Super Cup as well, so you can add more trophies to your team. So it is just different. It is better, and it's the status of yourself is. That's why, as United fans, we can banter City fans. So I remember that thing that Pep comment all the way up beforehand, like the start. At the end of the day, he's not won a Champions League in Manchester City, despite the style of football, despite the money, despite everything he's done. Fundamentally, where's the Champions League? It's not there. It's not there, you know, and we can still banter them about it because the Champions League is almost like the definitive. You have reached a big club world football status. You know, even if you go, years without like a domestic title, League Cup, you have that, especially with the fan base, you have that status associated with your club. You know, you've gone to that big club setting. Europa League, really is just a sign of progress, really.
Exactly.
Listen,
I
will just quickly say that G has seen his team win the Europa League until, under the great Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes and that whole squad, Cristiano Ronaldo. Layert has seen multiple Champions League wins again under the Berlusconi era. Roy, you've seen multiple Champions League wins against the Berlusconi era. The furthest I have seen our team go to the Champions League is the round of 16, and they lost to fucking Tottenham in that season. So you don't tell me that you don't ask me how important the Europa League is to me, because it's not fucking important. I keep hearing from my fans that the Champions League DNA is in our system. Where the fuck is that DNA? If I don't see it, I need to see that DNA. I need to feel it. I need the Champions League.
I like that. All right, guys, moving on. This is a question for both of you guys, and here it goes. Are the blue teams champions? Is it a done deal? Is it over? G, you go first.
It's a done deal, isn't it? If we're honest with ourselves, there's no way United are catching City. So the title is City is just inevitable. We get our honorary, we beat Manchester City in the Derby Trophy that we get every year because for some reason Ollie somehow beats Pep. I don't think Pep has beaten Ollie in the league actually. In cups, yes, but not in the league for some strange reason. I don't know why that is. And in case of Inter Milan. I mean, I've seen the point gap, and then you're in the Europa League, and to be honest, is there an argument that Inter Milan obviously finished fourth? They got knocked out. They didn't have to play any Thursday football that Milan did. Is there an argument that the fact that they could rest players, that they have a bigger squad, that contributed to them going further? Whereas also AC Milan had to play Europa League football, travel, and obviously domestic football as well.
Well, Layert says that.
I'll tell you the difference between AC Milan and Inter Milan.
Inter merda.
The only difference is that they spent 85 million for Lukaku. We spent 7 million for Ibrahimovic. That's the only difference. If you take Lukaku from them, and put it to AC Milan, we win the Champions League. We don't even consider.
That's a big statement.
That's big,
man. We won the Champions League. We won the in 2007. Listen, I'll tell you something. In 2007, we won the Champions League, and Man United had Ronaldo, Rooney.
That's true.
And big squad. We beat Liverpool. They were stronger than 2005. We beat a lot of big clubs in that season with just one player, Kaká.
Well, we had really good players. That's not true. That is not true.
No, guys, we had good players. We had good players for sure.
Sorry, let me just say this and then keep.
Ronaldinho et al.
Let me just say this and then you can go on. That season, Milan had Italian players that just won the World Cup. We're not talking about normal players. We're talking about very special players.
I know, man. I'm talking about, man. Even other teams had big players. We weren't the favorite. That's why we were doing we were fourth. So we did the game in August, at the end of August, and we started everything from the beginning. And we finished fourth that season in Serie A. So we didn't have the best team in Europe, but we were good because we can actually manage to win in Europe.
Inter Milan still finished bottom of their group with Lukaku in it, and that was to teams like Shakhtar and I think Borussia,
exactly,
and a really good team that were sort of. So I don't necessarily think that. I do think that Milan were in the Champions League in the group stages. I think that they possibly would have got through. Whether they would have won it, even plus minus with Lukaku, I think remains to be seen. I think there's still a big gap between AC Milan United and like a Bayern Munich, even PSG. Are you telling me that Mbappe runs to the AC Milan defense and doesn't get any? He gets some.
Well, I can tell you something. If I have Lukaku in my squad against Manchester United, probably do 3 goals in the first half. Instead of having Leao. That's a fact, man. I've seen that.
The best form of his life, though. So you're considering a guy who's literally in the best form of his life.
He's running, man. He's fast. And when people say he doesn't have the first touch and stuff like that, I would love to have him instead of Leao.
Going back to G's original question, though, it definitely plays a part. The fact that Inter don't have any more games, Europe games, and they're having at least 6 days of rest before every game.
And Ari, so you end this segment. Is it a done deal? Is the Serie A over? At least as far as the first position goes.
Look, here's the thing. Here's why I would like to say that it's over. And some Milan fans really might hate me for this. Lord. Who's the biggest competition to Inter right now? I don't think it's us anymore. I think it's Juve because they're slightly on the upwards trajectory. Maybe I would have said Milan 2 months ago, but it's not Milan anymore. So we're talking Inter versus Juve. Here's my problem with Juve winning the league. Everyone knows my problem with Inter winning the league. There are ugly blue cousins. We hate them. All of that. I don't need to repeat them. Here's my problem with Juve winning the league. If they win that bloody 10th title in a row, you know what the world says about us? Even though our league is so competitive this year, you know what the world says about us? They call us the Farmers League, and they label us that permanently if Juve win the 10th. 10 is a big number, man. So I need someone, whether it be AC Milan, Inter Merda, Atalanta, for God's sake, Roma, Napoli. I need anyone to break Juve's streak because I need for the sanctity of the Serie A. If not for Milan fans, but for the sanctity of the Serie A, I need that streak to be broken. So sure, the Serie A is over because if I say it's not over, then I'm saying Juve has a chance, and I don't want to say Juve has a chance. I do not want to see Juve win a 10th title.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me read some comments here from our audience. And audience, also, please remember, if you have comments or questions or topics that you want us to address, go ahead and let us know. Mike Asto says, a trophy is a trophy at the end of the day, guys. And we haven't won in a very long time. So Mike Asto, AC Milan fan, why can't a win in EL be a start rather than the peak? Very young team going places. You guys know me in this channel. This is what I say. I'm with Mike Asto. Liart and Ari have said where they are, and G has his ideas as far as Manchester United and what their path is. Now, this one is for G. Skillard asks, why are Manchester United fans so confident they lost against Sheffield United?
You mean confident going into this game? I wouldn't say that I'm confident. And the thing with United is that, like, yes, we lost against Sheffield, but then we also beat Manchester City. So it's like that's the thing with United is that, like, it's we can be beaten by any team, but we can also beat any team. People forget that we beat PSG as well quite comfortably in Paris. So
Wow.
that's the weird. I think that's the frustrating thing as United fan, is that we can beat the best teams in Europe, and we can also lose to the worst teams in Europe. The inconsistency is there. So I only think the reason why maybe some fans might be a bit more confident going in is just the return of certain players, like Pogba, like Shaw, like Rashford, and so on. It's the fact that our better players, more of our first team, will be coming into the squad, and we expect a better performance compared to last time. I think that's the main reason.
Got you. Okay. This is actually a Manchester United fan that comes and visits us often. Final Third Football. He says, I feel this game will most likely determine who will win this competition. If you beat United, I feel your favorites to win, and same for us. Nice. So then we have Antonio. He agrees with Lart. He says, take Barella and Lukaku away, and Inter is a Serie B team. Wow. Okay. Here we have a question. Guys, what are your thoughts on Pirlo? Do AC Milan fans still respect him, even though he played for and now manages Juventus? I'll answer that really fast, and then everybody can go ahead. Yes, I think Pirlo is a legend of Italian football. He'll always be in my heart forever. I'll always be thankful for the service that he did for AC Milan and for Italian football. So 100% yes. G, let me ask you first, and then we'll go to Ari Lar. You know Pirlo, right? You've seen Pirlo.
Yeah.
Are you British? Are you English, G?
Yeah.
So I'm
British
pretty
boy.
sure you. So I'm pretty sure you remember Euro 2012, England, Italy, where Pirlo had a master class of a game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Pirlo?
Absolutely, as a player, absolutely fantastic. Won the best in the world. Just a magician. That's basically the only way I can describe him. So just a magician. It wasn't that he had any pace per se, which is obviously a lot part of the modern sort of game, but just the intelligence, the abilities, that's a magician. That's basically the word I can describe him. An absolutely magician. If we're talking about his now translation to management, it's a bit dodgy. It looked from the outside, it looked a bit dodgy how the whole thing sort of revealed itself. The fact that Juventus gave him the job whilst he was still finishing his coaching badges seemed a bit weird to me. I don't know whether they appointed him because they see a long-term project with him. But then the problem with that is that they didn't seem to, at least the impression I get, they didn't seem to back him properly in the summer transfer window. It doesn't look like they're going to be backing him sooner. So I don't really understand the Pirlo appointment. If it's to instill confidence and maybe bring a youth and talent through and just change the philosophy, then that's fair enough. I can get that. If it's to just say, right, Pirlo's a legend, let's give him money, let's see what happens, aka like a Lampard and Chelsea, okay, I can kind of see that as well. But all I see is another manager who isn't really being backed and is kind of being hung out to dry, but just happens to be a club legend. It's almost as if the club are we'll try and put that legend there so that we can distract the fans from what we're actually doing with the team and our underinvestment and our lack of ambition, etc. So it's a really weird story because, frankly, Pirlo Sarri got sacked. This time, I see he got sacked from the Champions League. He won the Serie A. Juventus aren't going to win the Serie A. They got knocked out the same round of the Champions League. So does that mean that by a worse team? Exactly, arguably, because Lyon, I think, got through to the. They get through to the semis. Yeah, they got through to because they beat Manchester City in the following round. So does that not mean that Juventus are not should sack Pirlo because he's done worse?
They should.
Listen, Juventus should sack themselves because they changed a lot of manager, but they never won that cup, man. So it's their fault, not the manager. They're just bad as a club. You should tell them to suck themselves.
On Pirlo, Roy, if I could make a comment.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I second what Roy had to say about whether Pirlo is still a legend of AC Milan? Sure, yes, he is. He's now a more controversial legend, but legend nonetheless. Do we respect him? I think Milan fans are divided. I do respect him, but let me put a big but over here. Pirlo is a legend of AC Milan, but I do not anymore put him in the same bucket of legends like Andrei Shevchenko and let's say Ricardo Kaká and Gattuso and all the players who were playing with Pirlo, Nesta and all of that. I don't put him under the same bucket anymore because those guys were at the end, till the end, loyal to AC Milan and never said anything against the club after leaving, no matter what conditions they left in. Seedorf was treated very badly as a manager. He never said anything against AC Milan. So Pirlo has this ego and this arrogance to him that needs to be addressed, which is why I do believe he's a legend. I respect him, but I no longer put him in the legends bucket where my other legends reside, because Pirlo, at the end of the day, does have some bad blood with Milan. And I don't think he respects Milan that much anymore. And for that reason, I want him to suffer as a coach, at least in his starting years. And he's already suffering. And I want him to get fired from Juve.
All right. Okay, nice. Okay, very good question from the audience. Guys, now going back to tomorrow's game. And I want to talk about tomorrow's game. So, Cavani is out, right? Right now, Cavani has been determined to not be fit for this game. So your offensive striker, your center forward is most likely going to be Martial.
He's also injured.
Oh, he's also injured. So who's your going? Who is the who? Okay, so you tell. Yeah, go ahead.
So I mean, I'm saying so that is a good question. It's a difficult one because logically, I guess you'd think, okay, Greenwood, because technically Greenwood, that's his name, is number 9. I would be very surprised if in a big game as this, that Ollie trusts Mason Greenwood with holding up the line. But then on top of that, Pogba's now back. So I have a feeling, a sneaky spin, because he's done it before, that he'll play Pogba on the left wing, he'll play Marcus Rashford at number 9, and he'll play Mason Greenwood on the right.
Ooh, Rashford back. And okay, and for Light and Ari, guys, look at this. Look at this. Look at that beautiful comment right there. Look at that. That's so nice. That feels so good. What does this mean? Is he back? Is he going to have, do you guys think Ibra can have an impact on this game? And let's have Ari and Light answer this first, and then G, you can tell me what you think, whether or not Ibra can have an impact on this game, and what the defense is going to look like against a striker like Ibra. Ari, you go first.
I'll quickly answer, and I'll let Light do the technical answer. I'll just answer whether Ibra can have an impact on the game. Mr. Roy, Zlatan Ibrahimovic can have an impact on a game even if he was blindfolded, even if he was handcuffed, even if one leg was tied with the other, Zlatan Ibrahimovic can have an impact. And you are talking about Zlatan going against an $82 million Harry Maguire, potentially. Someone who he is very likely to bully all game long, or however long he plays. So yes, Zlatan is absolutely going to have an impact. Liar, take it over.
Man, we invited Manchester United fan. Go easy with these guys.
And I'm sure he's had enough. He's seen enough Harry Maguire memes that he doesn't even feel bad anymore.
Nah, I think Harry Maguire actually is a good defender. I think he's been unlucky. I think the two holding midfielders are not good enough for Manchester United to be a solid squad. Really? I would like to have Harry Maguire in AC Milan team.
What?
I don't mind. I think he's good. Not for 82 million for sure. Not for 82 million for sure.
That's at least balanced, because I think you're right. People do tend to go on at Harry Maguire, but they don't seem to, the fact that like the two holdings in front of him aren't that great, and also aren't really great in terms of ball control and passing ability, or even defensive ability, So yeah, I think that's a good point.
And Manchester United had a lot of clean sheet this season, so clearly the two centre back are not so bad. I think the squad, as G explained before, is kind of unstable. There is great performance and really poor performance, and that's not the central back. It's all about the midfield, and every team is all about the midfield. If you think the greatest teams, they won everything, they all had a great midfield. So I don't think Man United is going to do a lot if they don't have a great midfield. Going back to Zlatan, I think Zlatan. Oh man, I really want him to play this game, but Sunday is so important for us. Sunday is a final for us. I want him to score 2 goals Sunday.
Yep.
And I want him to rest Thursday. Maybe it's the game. If the game is a bit tough and we are kind of suffering, you can try the last 15 minutes and get an impact or try to score or something like that. But I would love him to just play Sunday, do his 2 goals, maybe go plus, I don't know, 9 points from Napoli and Roma. That would be great. That's my dream about Ibrahimovic and having an impact on that game. But for sure he's going to play, and he can always do great things.
All right. Before G takes it, Skillert says, Maguire and Milan, liar out. So, G, let me take this question to you. Obviously, Manchester United is a huge club, and they're one of the best clubs in the history of football. They have taken English football, at least, and world football to the highest of levels. So, being confident going into playing against Manchester United is always silly. We always have to be very, grounded and humble playing against Manchester United. But going back to the Ibrahimovic, how do you think the Manchester United defense is going to play out against Ibrahimovic and AC Milan?
I mean, obviously, if there's reports that Eric Bailly has a bit of a knock, I don't think he's definitively ruled out. I think it's just the word was we're assessing things, which depending on the manager can always kind of be sort of like he's definitely not out, or to throw a spanner in the works so that you can sort of play mind games with the other manager. So that's why I'm sort of reserving comment on that until I see starting 11. So if Bailly plays,
good point.
It's like I said last on the previous stream, where I think that with Bailly we have an opportunity to play much of a higher line. I don't think Ibra, for example, runs past Eric Bailly as such, but obviously his one I think his link-up play will be good. He's physical, but I think Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire together could deal with that. Now, if you have Maguire and Lindelof that play together, that's where the issue comes. And I think Lindelof in particular will get absolutely bullied by Ibrahimovic. He's been bullied by even slow. He was bullied by Olivier Giroud at Chelsea, who's not particularly pacey. So I think if you see Maguire and Lindelof there, I think Ibrahimovic will have much more joy. And I think that if you're Milan, I think that your tactic would be almost to sort of lob it up, cross it into Ibrahimovic, get him to bully Lindelof, get that goal off, and then you're pretty much home and dry, to be honest, because I don't think Manchester United could come back from that.
Okay. Guys, one more question about Ibrahimovic, and then we're going to go to the final segment. So Joel brings up this thing that we've seen in the news lately. I would like to know what all of you guys think about this. And thank you for the question. Good question, Joel. What do you guys think about Ibra returning to the Swedish national team? G, you take it first.
Apparently the god returned, isn't it? According to Twitter anyway. So so just correct me if I'm wrong, Sweden did qualify for the Euros, did they? Or did they? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
I mean, they have to. Why else would he be going back?
Yeah, they did. Yes,
they did. I thought it was because World Cup qualifiers or something. So, but okay, so they did. Okay, fine. On the one hand, to be fair to Sweden, they did get to the World Cup, the quarterfinals of the World Cup without him. That was last time out. That was when England, I think, got to semi-finals. So do they really need Zlatan? No, but it's Zlatan, though. It's Zlatan. So the mentality, the leadership, just the fact that he's such a character, he just makes it different. So I think having Zlatan is just a good person to have in your squad. Whether or not you play him every single game, I think you need to be a strong enough coach to say, listen, it's not working. You need to come off, you need to not. We need the shape to be different, but you're still keeping in your squad. And for good reason, because he's been scoring goals. So, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, yeah. What about you guys, Ari and Light, from the AC Milan perspective? What do you guys
Man,
think?
so I think here's why this is happening. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is only and only going back to Sweden. Everyone knows he's not fit enough and cannot, physically be fit enough to play for AC Milan in two competitions and Sweden in the international break. The one thing a 39-year-old needs is the international break to rest. The only thing this is satisfying, two things that this is satisfying, is Zlatan Ibrahimovic's ego. And in 2 years, there's going to be, and mark my words, guys, there's going to be a Netflix special called The One, The Only Zlatan Ibrahimovic, where they're going to show what happens to players, European strikers, when they retire. What happens when they take that flight from Europe all the way to the United States, play in the MLS, grab a bunch of money for 2 years, and then retire. And then who was the only one who kind of defied all odds, came back to Europe, actually made a huge difference in a side, made them resurgent and qualify, hopefully, back to the Champions League. And then what helps his Netflix special more? An appearance back in the Swedish team in the Euros after retiring 5 fucking years ago. So this is benefiting only Zlatan's ego and only Zlatan's Netflix special. And we cannot, at the end of the day, no matter how disappointed I am, I cannot. I can't disagree with this, because we all know what Zlatan is. What Zlatan says goes. And if there was an opportunity that he can play in the Euros again, of course he's going to do it. No other 39-year-old has ever done this. So, yes, he's risking Milan's season, but if I was Zlatan, I would risk Milan's season too, because it's helping my legacy. This is a legacy he's building that no other 39-year-old ever has done in Europe on this level. So in a way, I'm disappointing, but I support Zlatan. That's how I would bow out of my career if I had the chance to.
Nice, interesting. Laird, what are your opinions? Do you think this is going to affect Milan in some way? And guys, by the way, Zlatan is renewing his contract for next season. So
Yes,
Zlatan is playing for AC Milan next season. So since that he is renewing his contract, Laird, what do you think? Do you think this national team affair can affect him?
First of all, I just want to be honest with you guys. I really don't care about the Swedish national teams. If I can, I'll keep him in Milanello, running around, training, and getting ready or having like 2-week break, But as Ari says, his ego is bigger than the whole Serie A league, probably. So he wants to go there and prove a point that he is. Even the racist issue he had in Sweden, the fact his surname is not a Swedish surname, so he's never been loved by the crowd and the people in Sweden, or at least he thinks. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. So he kind of wants to prove a point that he's actually one of the biggest in Europe, and it's quite selfish, like the Sanremo and all the singing bullshit over there. But if he wants to do it, you cannot stop an athlete to play for your national team. So we have to just accept it and keep going like all season.
Roy, before we end, Zlatan, my childhood friend has commented down there. So I just want a quick end argument from Mr. G over here. Mr. S and Najmuddin says United are screwed if they start Lindelof against Ibra. Bailly would provide better aerial strength against Ibra. What are the two center back pairings you would pick if you're the coach and you know that Zlatan is starting?
It has to be Bay and Maguire. It has to be Bay Maguire. 100% has to be Bay Maguire. If Lindelof is there, yeah, it's not going to end well.
Yep.
Interesting.
Right. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go to the last segment of the show today, guys, and let's talk. Let's be prophets here right now. So let's see if we can see what the future holds for us. Let's talk about predictions. And let's finish with you, G. I want you to go last, and let's start with the AC Milan, the Milanisti. Laird, what are your predictions for tomorrow? How do you see this game going? And sorry, and everybody in the chat, let me know what your predictions are too. All right, go ahead, Laird. Take it away.
Well, I really don't like predictions because, as we said, these two teams, sometimes they just play great football, sometimes they're just really bad. And probably it's going to be, I don't know, I think depends. Rebic is playing, so I would say probably we're going to manage a goal. I think we're going to score this time earlier than the 90th minute, but probably United is going to do 2. So I think 2-1 or 2-2 for United.
By the way, Laird, Zlatan, Benacer for sure are fully recovered. In 3 hours, we're at Milanello. They're about to, I think, test, or in the morning, they're about to test Calabria, Romagnoli, Rebic, and Leao for the final time to see if they can make the squad.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, Ari, what are your predictions for tomorrow?
It's going to be a fight because Milan players, at the end of the day, regardless of the Serie A being way more important at this point, at least in my opinion, the players were fired up. We saw in the first leg, and I think it's going to be the same way. These are young players who've grown up to play with Manchester United on their FIFA consoles. So this is playing in the theater of dreams was probably a dream come true for many of the Milan players last week. So this is a fiery encounter. As you said in the beginning, this encounter doesn't need any marketing or advertisement to be a big game. This is just a big game because of the stature of the two clubs. So it's going to be a fight. I expect a good fight. I expect a fight that ends in a 2-2 draw, where Milan humbly bow out of the Europa League respectfully, where on the away goal rules, and they focus primarily on the top 4 for the rest of the season.
Okay. All right. I'll go real fast and then we'll finish with G. So I always give 2 predictions. I give my heart prediction and my head prediction. My heart prediction is always going to be for AC Milan. I hope AC Milan wins. If they do win, I think maybe a 2-1. But my head says that Manchester United is just forward than us in preparation, in team building. They have a seasoned players more than we do. They have more experience. So if they come in and bring the fire, they will go through. Manchester United will go through if they come in and bring the fire. So yes, 2-1 for Milan. My heart says 2-1 for Manchester United. My head says. And G, take it away.
Cool. Well, I actually think that's a nice way of putting it, because my heart says that United will win 2-1, especially if Eric Bailly plays. I would have been a lot more confident if Cavani was playing, just because of that proper number 9 role in the box, and that we have played poorly without him. My head says that it's probably going to be a 1-1 on the night, and it's going to go to extra time. And then I think United probably just edge it, just because of maybe the greater depth that we have in the squad, and so I think we win it in extra time. That's kind of what my head says, but my heart says 2-1 to Manchester United, and that we go through to the next round.
Nice. That's a very good prediction, I think. Well, guys, everybody, anybody has any last thing to add about this game? Does anybody have anything else to add?
I want to add something, but not about the game. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's actually following us and following G as well from now. Guys, check his channel. And thank you for supporting us in these moments.
Red Devil Studio on YouTube, and Twitter's tag is, I believe, We Are United. But if you just search Red Devil Studio on Twitter, you should find G. He has a great channel going there, one of the best up and coming United channels, in my opinion. And next time we have G back in on this podcast, I hope it's Milan and United playing in the Champions League.
Yes, exactly. Sir. And I just want to give a quick answer to Haris Rafiq. Combined 11, guys. So yesterday we were on Yesterday we were on G's show and we did a combined 11. So Haris, you can
sorry to interrupt you. I'm just in the process of actually clipping that segment and putting it on the channel. So if you do want to see that rather than like watching the whole thing with like an hour and a half an hour, once we've done the segment, there should be a clip of that proper combined 11 on the channel if you want to just check that out.
Yeah, check it out on his channel. All I'm going to say is one of the lines was dominated by United. Another line was, mostly Milan fans. And then, there was a big debate on Cavani versus Ibra. So you shouldn't miss it. If he's going to upload that, you should definitely look at it.
Absolutely. Quality stuff yesterday. All right, guys. Everybody, thank you very much. G, thank you so much for being here with us. We wish you the best of luck. We wish Manchester United the best of luck for the rest of the season. And like Ari says, we hope to see you again next year in the Champions League. We will do this again. So to everybody, thank you very much. Forza Milan, glory Manchester United, as Ari said. And guys, and let's hope for a great game tomorrow. And we will be having a watch along tomorrow here on the RossonARI TV. Please follow G's channel, Red Devil Studio, and Twitter. We are United X. And do you do live watch alongs, G?
Sometimes I do live watch alongs, not all the time. But mostly match previews, which are live, and then instant match reactions. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. Appreciate all of you. And ciao tutti.
Arrivederci. Have a good one. Bye.